So, tabletop gaming. It's difficult to say if it's become the hobby du jour for everyone within a particular sphere of interest, or if it's just that I've started to see tabletop games everywhere now because I happen to have fallen down a rabbit hole. Or two. A couple of years ago now, I joined some friends for a game of Hero Quest, and I really enjoyed it. It brought back a lot of fond memories. From there, I was gifted a 40k Tyranid starter paint set, which I eventually finished, before my friend Rob started to further enable me by introducing me to a skirmish game, Silver Bayonet. From kicking off a Silver Bayonet campaign to playing my first game of Age of Sigmar, this last couple of weeks has seen me shift up the gears from just painting minis through to actually getting around the table and playing with them as well. And all of that gaming action culminated with a trip to Sheffield a couple of weeks ago for my first visit to Chillcon. My nephew is well into Warhammer, and so what with it being his birthday the weekend after Chillcon, I got us tickets so we could go and check it out. Chillcon is a show that's all about embracing the joy of tabletop gaming in all its forms, whether that's wargaming, board games, card games, or anything else. And, well, it was lovely. The con took over the college with different models and battlefields out on display everywhere. There was a painting competition with entries that looked amazing up close. There were vendors everywhere, hobby-related seminars were running all weekend, there was a games library, a quiet room, just loads to pack into one day. One of my favourite bits was the hobby clinic, where you could talk to professionals about challenges that you got with your painting. Big shout out to Spray Black Studios for taking the time to chat to Sam and talk to him about airbrushing techniques and compressors. I think he took it all on board, and yeah, I'm really grateful for that. It was a good setup and it was busy enough to feel thriving, but with plenty of space to get around without ever feeling like you have people on top of you all the time. But of course, if you go somewhere like this, then a big part of it is buying minis and hobby supplies, and Chillcon did not disappoint. My first buys of the day were some of my favourites, these two medieval anthropomorphic mice from Greyhawk Miniatures. I'm currently on a fancy animal bender, and I'm dead keen on getting into burrows and badgers, which is the name of a game and not an unusual pastime. So I was well in the mood for some medieval animals, and these hit the spot perfectly. Combine the designs with the amazing artwork, which puts me in mind of Crom, one of my favourite comic artists working right now, and I was completely sold on what Greyhawk Miniatures are doing. I've put a link to their site in the description down below, so if you like what you see, then go and check it out and see what else I have to offer. On a similar theme, I also picked up this little turtle archer from IGS Minis. He might work with burrows and badgers, or he might not, but he looks like he'll be a ton of fun to paint regardless, so I'm very happy with this. And then the last mini that I picked up on the day was this, Big Babs, aka the barbarian version of Hector the health and safety frog from the excellent YouTube channel MS Paints. Dave, the man behind the channel, was lovely to chat to, and he gave us an explainer of Petrichor, his upcoming game, which looks like it will be bonkers fun. It's mini agnostic as well, which means you can use whatever miniatures you like in it. So I think this is probably where Hector will end up. And the Turtle Archer as well, come to think of it. I also picked up some basic basing materials, took my first step into a world of scenery with these plywood ruins, and I got my first set of dice. The latter came from a lucky dip bag that I got from Game Tea. This came loaded with goodies, and the main reasons I got it was because I knew you get a set of dice in there, and also knew you get a candle in there, which I wanted to get for my wife. That's more or less it for my Chillcon haul, but I would be remiss not to add these Tyranid models that were gifted to me by my nephew. The winged Tyranid Prime needed a new base, which we couldn't find at Chillcon, and so after the convention we hopped along to the Outpost, a gaming shop in Sheffield, where I picked up these replacement bases. So that was Chillcon, a fun day out and well worth visiting if you are into tabletop gaming. So this is all very exciting, but it does raise an interesting question. Am I into tabletop gaming? I mean, really? Or is this just hype? The Silver Bayonet, billed as a wargame of Napoleonic Gothic horror, is a skirmish game in which different Napoleonic era armies duke it out to achieve objectives on maps that could be crawling with vampires, werewolves, ghouls, and worse. We played a couple of standalone games last year to get used to a game and the mechanics, and then over the last couple of weeks we've started an Egyptian campaign which Rob himself wrote. In the games we've had so far, my unit of brave Austrian soldiers has narrowly lost one game and then comprehensively won the second, running my mate Gav's French unit right off the board. Obviously I'm years late to a party, but what I now understand is that tabletop gaming doesn't need to be all huge scale battles where it takes ages to go through a single turn. There's a place for that, but as someone with a limited attention span, it can be a bit inaccessible. With a simple enough game mechanic, like the one used in Silver Bayonet, the games can be fast-paced, unpredictable, and, dare I say, exciting. Exciting enough to get me coming back for more, exciting enough to get me going to Chillcon, and exciting enough to get me back into Warhammer. Like I said, my nephew is well into Warhammer, and so after Chillcon we went back to his where he cooked up a lovely veggie meatball dinner, and then set up a game of Age of Sigmar. We each had a 600-ish point army, and it basically became a game of charging at each other over the map and duking it out until one of our leaders died. I got his main hero down to 1 health point, but ultimately luck wasn't with me and he ended up winning the day. There was a bit more to the game mechanics than you get in the Silver Bayonet, but my recent experience with that game definitely helped me to get into it a lot easier. And the payoff of getting to roll 32 dice at once and see how much damage my hordes would inflict was well worth it. So, back to a question then, am I into tabletop gaming? In the last couple of weeks, I've hung out with my nephew, I've hung out with my gaming friends, and we've spent more time together just doing that than we have spent together in years. And whilst that is all really good, I think there's even more to it than that. We often talk about nostalgia as reconnecting with feelings you had when you were younger. With tabletop gaming, it feels more like we're reconnecting to the world as it was when we were younger. There's no internet involved, it's just hanging out in your mate's living room, having a laugh, having a chat, drinking a whole bottle of Coke, eating a pizza, and doing something tactile like it's 1998. I've missed that world. And if tabletop gaming gives me a small window back into it every now and then, well, I'm going to take it. It's fun, we're not hurting anyone, so why wouldn't I be into tabletop gaming? I've been posting pics from these recent games and Chillcon up on Instagram. You can find me at JBScripts if you want to take a look and give us a follow. Otherwise, thank you for watching and making it this far, I really appreciate it. My next video isn't about tabletop gaming, however it is something very retro and very fun. I cannot wait to share it with you. So subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you there.